Good evening, this is Keith All, and tonight I would like to talk to you about and teach you about Excel macros. The two topics will be what is a macro, and then how do you record macros in Excel 2003. So what is a macro? Well, a macro, as you can see from the screen, is a collection of steps that can be executed all at once. It is used for all your repetitive actions. Now, for example, you may need to create a report on a weekly basis or bi-weekly or monthly basis. And there could be a number of different steps you need to take to create this report. Now, all of these steps can be included inside of a macro. And then that macro then can be executed simply by clicking on a single button or even using a shortcut key. So right now I would like to go over to Microsoft Excel 2003. Now, in order for you to run your macros on the simplest level, you must open up Excel and then go to Tools, Macro, and then click on the Security option. Now, you have four different options here, and for the purposes of this tutorial, we're going to keep it on the lowest level. And in a second, I'm going to open up a sheet and I'll explain to you why we're selecting low. In the version 2003, you have a very high level, then a high level, then a medium, and then a low level. So today I'm going to show we're going to set the security level for macros at the low level. So I'm going to open up my sheet, and it's going to be this one. Okay, this sheet has already preloaded data set in it, and it's just fictional numbers, and basically it has sales data for an imaginary stationery company, and each one of these columns represent a certain data field for this data set. And this data set in column 1 is when the order was placed. This column region is basically the region that the product was sold in. The sales rep that sold the product, the item represents the product that they sold. The units column represents the number of units, basically the number, in this case, the number of pencils that were sold by the sales rep Jones was number 95. The unit cost per item, and then the total. So basically the total, it just equates to the number of units times the unit cost. So in this example, I'm going to show you how to record basically three macros. The first macro is going to be, I'm going to create a macro that's going to look at this data set, and it's going to return to me all items that were sold by the sales rep with the last name of Andrews. The second macro is going to give me all items that were sold with a unit cost equal to and greater than $4.99. The third macro will record returning the data set back to its original form. So, as promised, I was going to talk to you a little bit about the security level for macros. Now, basically Excel macros security protects your computer against viruses that may be passed to your computer via programming in Excel macros. Now, the low security level for macros in Excel 2003 what that does, it just allows all macros to run no matter what. It's not going to give you the option of enabling or disabling them. Once you open up a spreadsheet that already has macros attached to it. When you open up a new Excel workbook, you are not alerted to the fact that it contains macros. And you may not even be aware of macros running while you have this file that's open. That's what the low security level will do. Okay, first, this is a data set, and let me show you what this filter does, auto filter. Basically, the auto filter option in this version of it will take a data set and allow you to put a drop-down list that allows you to be able to sort on that particular column based on certain criteria. But before we record our first macro, I want to show you what it would take in order to give you all items sold by the Representative Andrews. So basically, without a macro, you're going to have to take these individual steps. Step one is going to basically, you want to select the data set. Basically, go to the first column in the header area because it's required in order to put on the data filters. So that's step number one. So you're going to go up here. Step number two would be go up to the data option, filter, and then turn auto filter on. As you can see now in these individual columns, you're going to be able to sort on this column, either ascending or descending, and then you're going to be able to select what items you want to sort this data set by. And it also allows you to create your own custom option. So again, up to this point, we took 3 steps. We had to select the data set. We had to go up to the data menu and turn turn the filter on, and that's where we're at right now. Now we want to sort, or basically return all items in this data set that were sold by the Representative Andrews. So we're going to go to the representative column. We're going to click on this down arrow, and now we're going to select Andrew's name. Now watch what happens. Now see, it returns back to you all items that were sold by the Representative Andrews. Okay, now you're asking yourself, well, how do I get all the data back? Well, this is another macro that you would be able to record. In order to do that, you need to go back up to the data menu item, click on filter, and then turn the auto filter off. Now you get to return all your data back. So that will be the second macro. Now, as you can see, all the steps I needed to take in order to perform those 2 functions. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to record a macro. The first macro, again, will be returning all items that were sold by the Representative Andrews. Okay, in order to record a data set, just a second. Okay, the first step that we need to take is be able to start recording a macro. So let's go up to Tools, Macro, and click on Record New Macro. Now you need to give this a macro a name, and there's no spaces in the macro name, so we're going to click on for simplicities, I'm going to just call this sales by Andrews. You could give it a shortcut key. So in this case, I'm going to use it, the letter S for a sales rep. And then you want to store this macro in your current workbook or wherever you want to record it. And then it automatically gives you a description by who it was recorded by. So as a developer, you always want to keep this first portion in. And basically what it says is macro recorded on this specific date, 3/26/2015, by whoever this Microsoft product is registered to. And then I'm going to add more descriptions to it, and that is all sales made by Rep Andrews. Okay, always make sure the cursor's in your dataset column on the header. Go up to data. You want to turn the filtering on, auto filter on, so it's all recording this. And now I want to return the dataset, all items sold by the Rep Andrews. Okay, at this portion, this macro is now done. Now this little box here gives you the option of clicking on the stop recording. You could click on that to stop recording, or you could go back up to tools, macro, click on stop recording. Okay, so it recorded that first macro. Now what I want to do is I want to click on, I want to record the second macro. The second macro is going to be returning the data set back to its original form. So it's going to return all the data back. So I'm going to go and record the second macro. I go up to tools, macro, record new macro. This one I'm going to set reset data. I'm going to call this Control R for reset. Store it in this book, and basically I'm going to add the description, reset the data to its original form. Click OK. So at this point I could start recording. So now I want to turn the data filters off. So basically I'm going to go up here, data, filter, make sure you turn it off. And I also want to turn them back on at this time. So I'm going to go up here, data, filter, turn it back on. Okay, now the recording is done for this. So I'm going to click on this stop button to stop recording. And now it is stopped.